Well, you know what? You know what, Greg? You know what? You're fired. Get off my show.
That's fine. That's fine. It frees up my Sunday nights.
All right. So, again, not much news to talk about, but obviously this was the biggest news that came out in the past week. So for those who don't know, EA put out a game called Battlefront 2. There's a huge firestorm about it. You could listen to last week's podcast where we talked everything about that and our thoughts and views. But from all of that, the domino effect from that was that now there was government intervention, and the reason why is because the question didn't bring up as far as with these loot boxes, are they gambling? And the question was imposed to a lot of people, and I told Greg this on Twitter as far as like I wouldn't be surprised. It's along the lines, but I said I wouldn't be surprised if, because a lot of politicians are older minds, they'll think because they think games are still for kids. And,
yeah, exactly.
And I told them like, hey, they may look at this and this is something they're gonna look into or possibly, and it may affect possibly what may happen in the future. And lo and behold, it happened. So now we got investigations happening in Hawaii, Australia, Belgium, France. These are the first ones to go out and say. I think I have another one actually up here. The UK commissioner or a gambling commission as well. So we got multiple. At least when it comes to majority everywhere else except for Hawaii, there are multiple investigations now put in place for the gambling situation that they believe it may be happening with these loot boxes. And one can argue that these aren't, or I should say, ESRB came out and said these are not gambling at all. But
there's a reason why. Like, the definition of gambling is you are risking money to get something. So, for example, Anthony, if I spent $5 on loot boxes, and then the game goes, sorry, better luck next time, and gave me nothing, that's gambling. The fact that I'm actually getting something out of it, period, is what makes it not gambling.
Yeah. The thing about this, too, it's like it's having a trickle-down effect to where when this is happening, game companies were coming out on Twitter, on social media, and saying like, "Hey, we don't have any loot boxes in our games. Like, we're not doing the same that EA's doing." And we got people out there that are in the mobile space, because this is I want to say majority of mobile games, with even developers coming out from their mobile from their companies for mobile games saying, "Hey, stop doing it. You're poisoning the well." Because it's so taboo right now to talk about anything about loot boxes that it's affecting people's mind.
Let me point something out to you, Anthony, that I think is really important to kind of keep in mind here when it comes to this whole situation. The only reason that it is as big of a story as it is right now is because Star Wars. That's the only reason.
That and EA.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, you know what Activision's doing about Call of Duty 2? Wiping the sweat off their fucking brow.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have legitimately bullshit microtransactions in their game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Buying high-tier guns? Holy shit.
Yeah. It's insane. They are very lucky that did not caught in this shitstorm that is.
Man. Well,
and ironically, that would be the case. If you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, Funhouse talked about this on their podcast, and again, I'm not defending any of these AAA publishers. I'm really not. But something they do make a point of is that like I said, what James said earlier, like they're going to try and find ways to get more money out of you. That's their job. That's their entire purpose, is to make money. The developer's purpose is to make the product that the consumer wants. And then their job is to market the fuck out of that product so that way the consumer wants it more. And then to make as much money off of that as possible. I was talking about just Last Jedi with my brother today, and I was like, you like that? You like all that merchandise that they showed real quick in that trailer? And he laughs because it's true. If you don't think the Porg and the Crystal Fox aren't going to sell a stupid amount of toys, I have a bridge to sell you.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason a lot of this exists. Yeah, we love our properties. We love our IPs. But my God, some of them are made to sell toys. This right here, which you can't see, is a 1980s Transformers poster. What do you think that entire cartoon was made to do? Literally. Yeah. Like outright made to sell toys.
As an example of what potentially this could look like, this was actually published earlier this year, May 2nd. This was from TheVerge.com. China's new law forces Dota, League of Legends, and other games to reveal odds of scoring good loot. Last December, China's Ministry of Culture released a new set of rules governing online games in the country, including regulation that requires developers of video games that feature random loot boxes to reveal the odds of players receiving them. That rule, which officially took effect on March 1st, has led to multiple big-name companies revealing the drop rates for rare items in their loot boxes, many of them for the first time. And I'll put a link in the chat for the entire article, but it's a little quick snippet. So if you want to look at an example of what that looks like, China has that in place right now. Now, I was talking to a few people about this and just like, how would this go down? Like, just out of curiosity, like, if things went south quick. So the one thing I dug up was so they're called gacha in I think China. Little balls you put money into, and ball comes out and you get a random item.
Gotcha pun.
Yeah, pretty much. So in regards to that, the way they got around to not labeling it as gambling is that they were detailing as far as like what you can receive. They were just putting much more details of what's in each item when you put in money, and it's not totally up to mystery. And that's the same thing for Magic, for trading card games as well. It's like what you're getting, and you know exactly what rares and uncommons you're getting every time, and you get to hang on to that.
Right. It's what I said earlier. It's the whole thing of it's not gambling if you still get something out of it. Yep. That's how they got around it being gambling or not being gambling. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Like, what you're describing right now is exactly what I was saying earlier. Like, if you put money in and there's a chance you get nothing out, that's gambling. If you put money in and always are getting something out of it, whether it's something you want or not, that's not gambling.
I would argue this as a counterpoint. It is true right now in the video game space, but like all games right now, and specifically since everything is online, what's to say that whatever you bought for that game, the game is done, or the game is nobody's playing it, and then the servers go off. You no longer have that item. It's on that server or whatever they made it put. So then you're getting nothing. You're getting nothing in return.
So then don't spend money on loot boxes. It's that simple, Anthony. Like, it's absurd to me that what that argument does, like, it might not be your argument. So this direction isn't towards you, but I'm going to say the word "you" a lot.
Okay.
What this argument does is it basically says that you have no impulse control, and that you are the type of person that goes out of your way and sees shiny and says, "I have to buy it." That to me is absurd. That to me is like saying that you can't control yourself when it comes to anything in life. If you look at a game that has shiny objects, now again, not defending what is in Battlefield 2 or World War 2, but I am defending other loot boxes because I think it's nonsense that people will sit there and say, well, it's making me spend more money. It's making kids spend more money. The fuck it is. It's not making you do anything. It's enticing you, which guess what advertising does anyway. But it's not making you do anything. It's not making you pull your credit card out of your wallet. It's not making you hit submit on the payment area. You're making that choice. Period.
That is true. That is true. And 100%, it is on the parent. It is on the person who has the card and those purchasing it. But as I said prior, old minds think, games are still for kids, and then they link gambling to kids. It's, oh, this is a bad thing. We should definitely stop it. And let's preface this. Go ahead. Sorry.
I would say, and what is happening right now is ultimately a good thing, because I'll tell you right now, there will never be a AAA studio to put microtransactions in the form of loot boxes or loot crates or whatever you want to call them in their game that aren't cosmetic.
Yeah, and I was gonna say
but they aren't going away.
Yeah,
I promise you right now, they're not going away.
Yeah, they're not going away anytime soon. They're going away for now. There's a lot of heat on it right now, and not only from gamers but also now from government.
Hiding the middle finger will be a lot more eloquent.
Yeah, so they're definitely will be coming back for sure. But what I will say is, ironically, this is a good thing regarding what in the future may behold when it comes to loot boxes in the game industry. The last thing we want to have is the government coming into the game industry. When that happened years and years ago, ESRB was created. The government stepped in because of violence in video games, and it's famously for Mortal Kombat and what was that game? It was Mortal Kombat and Carmageddon, and then it was Night Trap, were the three games that they pointed out, and it's something that they said, like, these are too violent for kids. You should do something, or we will, and they did. ESRB was created. Fast forward to today, government intervention, which is ironically, like Gray said, is a good thing as far as like what's happening right now. Now, what the danger of that is, like, they may and again get more involved in the game industry than they haven't been before. And if that happens down that slope, who knows what might happen regarding what the game industry may look like then. It does put the heat on the ESRB to do a better I won't say job, but like to better self-govern the game industry when it comes to things like this. So,
well, I don't feel that. I mean, there's a small chance that our government will look at stuff like this as gambling and it will go away. But I think the important thing to keep in mind is that not all microtransactions are loot boxes.
Yeah, that's true. Not all.
So there's a good chance, like, it's just that the loot box model was a really good way to get people to keep spending money.
Right.
And there's got to be a way to bring in some more revenue. Like I stated last time we talked about this, was that AAA games cost way the hell too much. And there's two options that gamers and the industry has. Get rid of loot boxes and increase the price of AAA titles to about $90 to $100, or suck it up and deal with loot boxes, or deal with microtransactions. And I can tell you right now that sucking it up and dealing with microtransactions is really your only option, because there's no way in hell the populace, because there's three groups that have to agree to increasing it from the $60 price tag. That's the publisher, which they'd be okay with at a certain point. The developer, which they might be okay with because then they don't have to deal with microtransactions being coded into their games. But then there's the third party. That's the most important one, and that's the consumer. I don't think that the populace of the consumer will be okay with spending above $60 for a game.
So two things I want to point out is, actually, funny enough, I brought up an article regarding the case for and against loot boxes according to developers. I just want to read a small snippet here, as this article entails. This is from PCGamer.com, written by Wes Fountain, where he details as far as, like, interviewing these developers and asking, like, what goes to the cost of these games, like what exactly. It's kind of innards, obviously unnamed, but here are some of the quotes, and I'll read one example to the response of why have we seen such a surge in loot boxes in 2017. I think there's a false narrative that runs around when companies see growth somewhere and they think, oh, we have to be part of this. A veteran producer of AAA games who asked to be quoted anonymously told us, the impulse is, oh God, let's put this in our game, when in reality, you don't need to do that. There's definitely a mentality of, oh God, we have to do something. Mobile is doing so well, unquote. I'll link the whole article in here for those who want to read the entire, which I suggest you guys do. I will say, though, to kind of hop back on Battlefront 2 a little bit, in regards to microtransactions, and I did a little research myself, just like, are microtransactions needed for some games to cut the cost? Like, are games really expensive? Turns out, yeah, games are really expensive. But in some cases, in the case for Battlefront 2, and kind of what I was talking about last week, or I was trying to word is, if you have such a huge property with Star Wars, you have the movie coming out, that they're gonna, promote the game. Like if you have to put in microtransactions, loot boxes in Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the game to, in EA's eyes, to make money back, then to me, I don't think they should have the license in the first place to try it, because Star Wars is such a huge property. Anybody who Star Wars is a money grabber. You put Chewbacca on a cup and people will buy the hell out of it. If EA can't find a way to make that very profitable, then it's going to be a bad road ahead of them when it comes to when the game comes out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think realistically, like in all honesty, Anthony, you could absolutely have like sold Battlefront 2 without microtransactions, and it would have made more money back than what it cost. I absolutely believe that. I don't think that Battlefront 2 as it's the game itself needed to have microtransactions. But there is two factors into that. Like, there was no guarantee in that. You have to keep in mind that the Battlefront gameplay is a bit of a niche area. You're asking players to play in a primarily exclusive Star Wars world where they don't get to play as heroes or the main characters that they love as often, and ultimately that was a selling point for Battlefront 2 back, like the original Battlefront 2. You get to play heroes now, and I always thought even back then, like, that's absurd. That's not what Battlefront is. Like, cool, you get to play a hero for a few minutes, okay. Like, the point is to have these giant epic laser battles.
Yeah.
And I still feel that way. Like, I don't spend any of the in-game currency, the credits in Battlefront 2 towards heroes, because I'm not good with them, and I don't care to play them. I'm much better with a laser gun than I am with a lightsaber, oddly enough.
Right, definitely.
So, but no, I do believe that with, like, of the franchise like Star Wars, they could have made that back. But again, like I said, there's no guarantee. And with the adage, Anthony, that extra content is going to be added as they're making it for free, there needed to be a way to subsidize that as well.
Yeah.
Which people still forget about that, by the way.
Yeah. The next question is, as I do wonder, getting back to the main topic at hand, I do wonder as far as what's going to be the result of these investigations. Obviously, like, smart minds would say that, technically maybe or may not be, depending on what game it is, and they'll have some detailed rules as far as like, hey, you should change this, kind of how China has it right now. I do wonder if it was going to catch on to other states, other countries as well. As far as
it might. I mean, we've already seen other countries have weird laws when it, like Australia and their censorship, and Germany and their censorship, and like there's other countries where you can't show certain things, and so certain games don't even get released. Like, we're seeing a ton of that, so it's not terribly surprising. Like, France and Belgium is looking into it, and it's gonna like either one or two things is going to happen in Belgium, since now loot boxes are technically illegal under the idea of them being gambling. Is the loot box system is going to be taken out, or each of, like, Overwatch's skins are going to be available for 50 cents a piece, or some stupid thing like that.
Awesome. Hey, I'd be down for that. If I can buy the exact skin I want, cool. That'd be cool.
That's not going to happen here in America, because the ESRB has declared it not gambling, which is going to come into a huge factor if it ever goes to, like, Supreme Court, which that'll be years before that even happens. So
yeah, I mean, it depends on how hot this will pick up in other countries and places.
And also, if you look at the sales numbers of Battlefront 2, and you look at how many people are complaining about the stuff in Battlefront 2, it's actually still, again, a smaller number of people complaining.
Well, and also the fact that, again, it's Star Wars, and it's a huge brand. If it was any other game outside of Star Wars, you might have a better case.
Yeah. I mean, it hurts my soul that this is happening because I'm such a huge Star Wars fan. But
Oh yeah, I am too. Yeah, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, I feel like this, EA really felled up and really just did not take care of what he needed to take care of, and because of it, it's a huge backlash.
yeah.
So